Coming into the draft, there were a lot of people that thought that Brandon Miller wasn't deserving of a top 2 pick, even though he was the best college basketball prospect in the draft. Obviously, Victor Wembanyama was going to go first no matter what, but there were a lot of people that thought that Scoot Henderson was the next guy in line. So when the Charlotte Hornets took Brandon Miller instead of Scoot, there were a lot of people that questioned the decision. In hindsight, I think people were just attracted to Scoot Henderson's game overall. He was a more athletic guy. He was just a more flashy player, the more sexy pick, I guess. But I always thought that Brandon Miller was the better basketball player, and so far, it's early on, but I'm proven to be right on that. Since I was in the minority at the time, I'm going to talk about how good I think Brandon Miller is and could be for the Charlotte Hornets moving forward. I'll talk about what I like about his game so far, what he's made improvements on, and improvements he needs to make in the future moving forward in his game. Miller right now is averaging 16 points and 4 rebounds on 44.5% from the field and 38% from 3, and he has actually really came into his own lately. The Hornets organization were fond of him throughout the early part of the season as he showed flashes of what he could potentially be, and that is a dangerous 3-level scorer who is long, athletic, and capable of playing both sides of the ball. He showed enough promise to force the Hornets' hand of trading guys who've been there forever, guys like Terry Rozier and Gordon Hayward. For as solid as those guys were for the team, the upside wasn't there with them, so it was smart to trade them. With Rozier specifically, he was efficient, but he put up 18 shots a game, which isn't terrible, but if you have a guy on your team shooting that ball that many times and he's not a part of your future plans, there's really no point in having him. And the same thing goes for Gordon Hayward. The Hornets did the right decision, especially if they knew they had a guy that could be as special as Brandon Miller can be. There's no reason in waiting or kind of taking that away from him. Before the Rozier trade, Miller averaged 15 points per game on 44% shooting from the field on 13 field goal attempts from the field and 38% from 3, which are really good numbers for a rookie. But as of the trade, he's been putting up 21 a game on 46% shooting from the field on 17 field goals per game and 39% from 3. The parts of his game that already impresses me is his off-the-dribble scoring ability, as I didn't think he'd be this good this soon in that department. He gets to his spots rather easily, especially in the mid-range, and I think that comes from a lot of patience with him. A lot of rookies just aren't patient with their game when it comes to scoring, and that's what causes the inefficiency, and that's what causes the out-of-rhythm shooting. But Miller doesn't rush to a spot. He surveys the defense and then acts accordingly. After that, those little things go a long way into being a great scorer, and B. Mills has that already. At the rim, he's finishing better recently. He's knowing where to put the ball and trying not to be affected by big guys. He's absorbing contact a lot better and just finishing around the rim a lot better. Like I mentioned, most of his work comes off the dribble, but not much of it comes off screens. He mainly attacks closeouts and takes guys one-on-ones, attacks mismatches. But like I said, with his patience, I would like to see more pick and roll out of his game. He can be very effective. He has been so far, and I think he can build on that moving forward. He's going to need to get better as a passer. We all know that. He's averaging 2 assists right now. I think a peak Brandon Miller can average 4 to 5 assists per game. And that's going to come with him getting better as a passer, a better feel for, his offense and whatnot. And, as teams load up on him a little bit more, it's going to be even easier for him to make passes. So he will get better in that department, no doubt about it. Like I said, the patience that he shows off those pick and rolls is absolutely immaculate for a rookie. So he's just going to get better at it. He's going to get to his mid-range spots easily. He's going to get to the rim easily. And one thing I have seen from Brandon Miller's game so far, especially when researching this video, is that his floater game is nice. And I'm a big floaters guy. I played basketball in high school, play pickup still. Floaters are my go-to, one of my go-tos, because it's such a free shot, The mid-range is a little tougher. Going and attacking guys bigger than you at the rim is really tough, but floating it over guys, it's right there. It's a free 2 points. In NBA, it's a free 2 points. But not many people know that. Brandon Miller does, though, and he's using it to his advantage. He has a nice floater game. He's going to get more opportunities running the offense. Not to mention, LaMelo Ball has been in and out of the lineup throughout the year due to injury. But let's talk about what Brandon Miller has improved on so far since the season started that gave the Hornets confidence in him moving forward. Now, early on, he struggled a bit with the physicality of the game, especially on offense. It's expected for a rookie, but nonetheless, it took some time for him to adjust to that. Offensively on drives, he was moved off his path a little bit too often and couldn't absorb contact the way he wanted to for him to be effective. Those are subtle things that aren't talked about for young guys, but Brandon Miller really struggled with that early on, wasn't as efficient, but he's figured out something in the last month and a half, 2 months, to where he doesn't get affected by contact as much, he doesn't get affected at the rim as much. He uses his angles to his advantage, and we're really starting to see him play at his own pace. He reminds me of a matured Jayson Tatum from the standpoint that Miller uses his triple threat to his advantage to catch defenders off guard, to survey the defense, and then make his move. He doesn't rush into his game anymore, like I mentioned. In turn, that's leading to him to be more efficient and just a better overall scorer. He's learning how to use the mid-range to his advantage, and his mid-range jumper has improved drastically since then too. Now, defensively, he has had some struggles so far. Fouling was the biggest thing. Now, defensively, he does have some Paul George in him. I will say, though, he has had moments where he's really struggled defensively. If y'all remember that summer league game he had like 8 fouls, and a lot of those were just undisciplined reaching in, bumping his body, using his body too much. And I just chalked that up to lack of experience and lack of guarding NBA type guys. But now that he's been more accustomed to guarding NBA type guys, he's been a lot better. He uses his hands, gets his hands in the passing lanes, anticipates very well, and overall smarter with his decision making and physicality defensively. And he's taken the challenge more on occasion, and that's one thing that I love more than anything. The competitive nature on the defensive end as a rookie is there. Against the Pacers on like February 4th, he scores a layup. That means he's on the baseline, and he's the first guy all the way back on the opposite baseline, stopping a outlet pass that ends up going out of bounds. But he's yelling at his guys, "Get the F back!" If he's gonna be that type of guy and have that leadership about him this early, man. Another example, against the Lakers in a game recently, he was in a pick and roll action where Bron and AD were on a strong side pick and roll. Miller crashes down to tag AD, taking that option away from LeBron. So Bron swings it to Reeves, and not only does he close out to AR, he steals it, he goes on the other side of the court and punches it on Rui's head. And oh yeah, he dropped 16 points in that fourth quarter and 25 in the second half alone, almost single-handedly bringing the Hornets back in that game. Those are 2 examples of how his mindset is going to take him a long way. There have been a lot of positive thoughts about Brandon Miller so far in the Hornets organization, and I think that's going to continue to grow. Great sign so far as a rookie. Combine his mental state with his physical tools and his skill sets. Oh man, this dude's going to be a problem. He's going to be a perennial all-star for years to come, and maybe even more than all-star. This guy's a superstar in the making, y'all. He's a superstar in the making. I think he can be the best player on a championship level team. That's going to take some time. Obviously, might not be in Charlotte, but I think he can be the best guy on a championship level team. I think a prime stat line for him is looking like 27 points per game, 6-7 rebounds, 4 assists per game, on like 47% from the field and like 38% from 3. Something along those lines I think is ideal for Brandon Miller in his prime. Hopefully, Charlotte can find a way to improve this team as fast as possible, because this guy has immense talent and it's going to go to waste if they don't do something about it. I think him and LaMelo are a good duo and can be a really good one moving forward. But with LaMelo being in and out of the lineup with injury, it's just hard for me to kind of envision that moving forward, man. His injury-prone status has kind of been concerning to me moving forward. So we'll see what happens with LaMelo. We'll see what happens with the Hornets organization. But I do think Brandon Miller can and will be that guy. But you guys let me know how y'all feel about Brandon Miller. How great do y'all think he can be as a player moving forward? Can he be the best player on a championship team? Is he going to be an all-star probably like next year like Paolo was? But y'all let me know what y'all think. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, y'all, for more content like this. I'm thinking about making a Paolo Banchero video. I'm thinking about making a Cam Whitmore video or Jonathan Kuminga video, something along those lines. I like to talk about the young players in the game that are, on the rise and going to be the future moving forward. So I really love talking about those type of guys. So let me know who y'all would like me to talk about, and I'll make a video of it. Show me some support, man, and I'll keep this thing rolling. But this is Jimmy from Just the Facts. I'm signing out. Peace.